Dawn's activation went fantastic. She's going to leave here soon to go meet her son and hear his voice for the first time.
I still haven't spoken to my youngest son, and so I'm looking forward to hearing him.
She never heard my voice. I'm just really excited that she could finally hear.
I'm nervous, I'm hopeful, but I'm also afraid. I guess I still have that fear of I'm not going to hear him.
Hey Mom, could you hear me?
Yes. Now you can talk and I can hear you.
I love you.
Yeah, I love you too. Are you happy that I can hear you?
Yes. Now she could finally hear me and I'm not silent anymore.
We're here with house clinic neurologist Dr. William Slattery, along with Dawn and her sons Asher and Patterson. You know, it's ironic that words are what brought everyone here to tears and you to tears, and yet I'm speechless because I cannot even imagine what it's like to hear your 8-year-old son's voice for the first time.
It was overwhelming. I'm speechless. I mean, to hear both of them, even to hear my own voice, it's far greater than I could have ever expected. Just to hear a word was the most amazing thing I have ever experienced.
So Asher and Patterson, what's it like for your mom to be able to hear you guys say things and hear your voice?
Well, it's like good I could finally hear, like that she could hear. Just like very cool.
It's amazing because, she never, heard me since I was 2, so, it's just the world that you're living in. You never really know what you're missing, so it's just really amazing to actually know what it's like to actually, have her hear me.
Now you have to be careful what you say, though.
Yeah.
You realize that, right? And Dr. Slattery, it just seems to me that so many advances have been made in terms of giving someone like Dawn the choice, the option to potentially hear again.
Yeah, the cochlear implant's amazing. I mean, the devices over the last couple of years have gotten smaller, thinner, faster. I think we have some pictures to actually show you what some of the devices look like back in the 80s. They had cables that went up to the ear. And in the 90s, it became a little bit smaller box. For those of you who remember what a Walkman looked like, it was kind of like a Walkman that you'd wear on the side, but you still had these cables that had to come up to the ear. And now we have this small device, similar to what Dawn has, that fits all up on, inside the ear. And this is a demonstration of what one looks like. This is what Dawn has. So it has a microphone, and then this cable goes into the inner ear. And the part that we're stimulating is actually the cochlear, the inner ear. And then this is the actual device or the implant that's put inside Dawn. And the significance that I'd like to point out is you'll see at the very bottom of this, there's a little coil. And that little coil is actually the size of the inner ear. Now that coil, which you can't see very well, but it's actually about the size of your nail on your pinky finger. That's how small it is. So in this animation, you see a normal ear. Sound comes in and vibrates the pink eardrum, which vibrates the hearing bones. That sends a sound wave into the inner ear where there's 15,000 little hair cells represented by the little blue dots. And that transmits a sound wave via the ear nerve into the brain. And that's how we normally hear. Now, if you have a disease such as Dawn has, and there's a problem with the inner ear, the cochlear implant system is meant to bypass that. So we have the internal device, which is implanted. You saw the surgery of that underneath the skin. There's this external part that has the battery and microphone. And then there's an electric cable that goes down into the inner ear where there's 22 little electrodes. And those electrodes actually stimulate the hearing nerve to allow stimulation of near normal hearing.
Dr. Slattery, was it a big advantage for Dawn, the fact that she had hearing previously?
Well, when you have hearing previously, patients do much better because the brain has already learned how to hear, how to interpret sound. We actually implant these in children who are born deaf as young as 12 months of age. And so it can actually be used for these deaf children. And the amazing thing is these deaf children also develop speech and language skills that's almost near normal.
Really quickly before we go to break, people at home who may be watching this, who know someone who's hearing impaired, who would this be appropriate for?
So cochlear implant is appropriate for someone who can no longer receive benefit from a hearing aid. People who can't talk on the telephone with their hearing aid, those are individuals who are good candidates to look into a cochlear implant.